20 marzec, księżyc pomiędzy Słońcem a Ziemią. Pas zaćmienia całkowitego przebiegnie przez północną część Oceanu Atlantyckiego i Morze Arktyczne. Zaczyna się w okolicach Grenlandii, przejdzie przez Wyspy Owcze, czy już przechodzi właściwie Spitsbergen, docierając do okolic bieguna północnego. W Polsce księżyc zakryje, za niebawem zresztą, 60% tarczy słonecznej, a w północno-zachodniej części kraju nawet 76%. No zobaczymy, czas leci. To są takie różne znaki. A w Stanach Zjednoczonych coraz więcej prowokacji.
For us daring to send out a tweet with the Indianapolis Star. That's the thing. Other media outlets don't send out someone else's news article. It's only about them. We send everybody's stuff out. Mainstream, alternative. We don't. We just want to defeat the tyranny. It just shows how twisted these people are. And he goes on to say we're cokeheads and everything else with no proof. Again, because I have energy, I must be on drugs. You think I can have this much energy for 20 years and be on drugs? Yeah, I have 2 cups of coffee. I drink some tea occasionally, iced tea. I drink some beer. I don't even use nicotine products. Nothing. Nothing. And you have the nerve to sit there and call me a drug addict because you're not man enough to stand up for humanity. That is shameful, Montel Williams. Now, I can't believe both these people, I like them. Of all those obnoxious talk show hosts, Montel Williams seemed like he wanted to cover some good subjects. I haven't watched the show but maybe 20 times over the last 30 years. That's still a lot. Now, somebody I did like was David Cross. Very funny comedian, top 10 comedian in the U.S., in the top 10. He put out a movie that's now making the rounds that we just learned of called Hits. And it's directed by him, and I bet my bottom dollar. I'm not accusing him of this, like he just makes stuff about me. It's a movie, basically demonizing grassroots organizations, protesters, and it's got all these protesters in the city hall protesting, all the hippies supporting this guy that's leading them, who's just kind of a regular, guy who's kind of fallen down. And then he goes into, and it's the Jews and blah, 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 and the N-word. Alex Jones told me all this. I learned this from Alex Jones. Now, folks, that's the opposite of what he would have learned from Alex Jones. So someone smart like David Cross shows what an incredibly slimy, nasty person he is, because I bet money he was paid. Now, again, I'm not saying this, that I know it, but I know how media works. I bet him $5,000 that if he could show me his funding sheet and show me the documents, because there'll be an official sheet that shows who were product placements. I bet it's even in the credits. It may not say what they paid for it. We need to look at the credits of this film. I bet money he was paid. Or they told him, we'll distribute your film, but attack the Liberty Movement. Because that's what the whole film basically is about.
Polsce jeszcze chwila, ale to już jest.
And so that's where all this is going. Imagine someone that's ever heard. I mean, the movie Prisoners comes out, and the child molester kidnapper is named Alex Jones. And people are noticing that bad guys are named Alex Jones now all over the place. Just a month ago, there was some other TV show, I'll pop my head in a minute, where the bad guy's named Alex Jones. Or where they make fake websites that look exactly like my site, talking about crazy stuff, and they implant it subliminally on Comedy Central. I mean, there's so much of this, we can't even keep track of it. And again, it's happening because we will hold up the vaccine insert where it says for MMR, it can give you epilepsy or diabetes or pancreatitis or kill you. I mean, they just can't have that. I don't debate them on their fake level. I just bypass their fake debates and go right to the documentation. And if the way we do things, just straight shooting people, start spreading folks, it's over for them. Now let's go to this clip. We bleeped out the N-word, but everything else is edited. Because they would go on the news and say that I'm saying the N-word. That's how deceptive this scum is. And listen, they assassinate your character before they kill you, okay? And I have to be honest, I'm not being dramatic. An attack of this level on a daily basis across media spectrums, they are attempting, if they can destroy my name, they're going to kill me. They will kill me if they're able to destroy my name. And I'm not, quite frankly, I don't want to die, but I'm not a coward. I'm a real man. and I'm not afraid of any of you. So you do whatever you do. You go ahead and destroy my name. You go ahead and lie to me. You go ahead and lie about me, and you go ahead and do all that. I'm going to stand up till the end against you people, and it doesn't matter, because I know that I'm standing up for the unborn and the innocents and everybody else, and not because I'm a hero, because I'm a regular guy. We're going to skip this network break, so we have plenty of time to play this clip. But this is, praise the Lord, folks. This is thank God. Because I've prayed to God, you've heard me on air, but I pray privately, just please make me be a good person, help me be strong, and please give me the will to work as hard as I can, and the words to reach people, to unlock their hearts and minds so that they not be destroyed by this. Because I have children that will grow up with your children and their children and their children. We are all together. We are all one. We are all one together. And you know what? I forgive you, Montel Williams. You must really need money. And I mean this sincerely from my heart. Not to look like the better man. And the same thing for David Cross. You're a talented, good person, and it's so sad to see you fall so low and to slander and to debase and to try to defame someone like myself. You have defamed yourself. And it's bad luck, man. You know, lying about somebody that's trying to be good, lying about somebody who's been persecuted, trying to lie to people out there to turn them away from the truth, to turn them away from trying to heal our land. You really have joined with evil. And I think God's going to punish you for it if you don't repent. So we need to pray for Montel Williams and David Cross, that God humble them and that God show them his true power and bring them to their knees, because this whole army of sellouts that would not just join with the system, but that would premeditatedly try to make people think that I don't like black people, when all I try to do is save the unborn. I don't care whether they're black or white. To lie about me when you know I'm trying to bring people together. You don't hurt me with your fake political correctness. You hurt yourself. And I pray that every weapon formed against us will not prosper. And I know that will be true. I mean, I'm not stupid. If they physically kill me, it will only make everything I've done 100 times stronger. That's why they haven't done it. The Lord works in mysterious ways. And I want everybody to pray. Pray with me that men who are talented and smart, who we can't judge, we don't know their hearts, we don't know their evil, but have been deceived or twisted or manipulated into lying about good people and trying to hurt innocents that might find the truth. I just pray that their hearts be changed. And I pray that God show them his incredible power. And I pray it happens. I pray it happens today. Pray with me. Pray with me that these men, like Saul on the road to Damascus, be humbled. You sign on to destroy what we're trying to do. You've signed on to the greatest evils the world has ever seen. You serve the New World Order with your heart, and your will, and your mind. You have turned yourself over directly to Satan. You are riding in the car with the devil. And because the things I talk about challenge your whole worldview, that's why you attack me and lie about everything we do at InfoWars, because you know deep down it's true. You're smart men. You're just two examples of the latest, where you're attempting to inoculate the public with poison and lies against the name Alex Jones. And I've explained this to the listeners 100 times. They want to bring me down, not because I'm the greatest guy or I'm the hero, but because I'm somebody willing to step across the line first against the enemy. And if others follow, it's over for them. I'm sincere. The enemy has assessed me years ago, and they know I'm real. And that spirit is what threatens them. The flesh and the simple person I am and the simple person you are failed and are wicked. But the spirit in us that God made, when it points towards God, like a flower opening to the sun, is unstoppable. You have to realize how epic this battle is, this great test. You're only alive once, ladies and gentlemen. In this space and time, you need to take action. This is your test. Don't sit there in the matrix watching television all day. Go out and reach others. Realize you are leaders. Now let's go to this latest blasphemous piece. Let me set it up for radio listeners. Our radio listeners can go to Infowars.com on their smartphones, droids, anything. Mobile devices, Infowars.com/show. Infowars.com/show. Send that out to your friends and family. It's a war. They can demonize us. They can shut us down. This can backfire. You reach out to their supporters and their fans. You say, look at how he lied about them. Look at how he said that Alex hates black people and basically loves Hitler. Why would they lie about him? What's he saying? They can come listen to us and find out the truth. And find out why they were probably paid to do this. Government spends hundreds of billions of dollars in the last decade with fake news and paying people to put out fake information and demonization campaigns. There's no way that every day major media is attacking us with the same lies out of the clear blue sky. This is a talking point. I watch Media Matters put out lies against us, overtly run by the White House, and then within hours I see it mimicked everywhere. What does it mean that the White House has their guns swung around on us? It means they're weak. It means they're evil. It means we're right. It means they're pathetic. If we, this little InfoWars operation, and you, the listeners that have the power, if you've got them concerned, it shows how weak they are. Like I said last hour, suddenly GMOs get taken off the shelves. Suddenly McDonald's is pulling. Suddenly hundreds of other big firms are doing it. Suddenly. It's all over mainstream news that fluoride's causing brain damage, and it's true. Well, because two different times in the last 10 years. Once 10 years ago, once 3 years ago, led by Dr. Conant and others, they had almost 100% of the EPA and FDA scientists together organized. You know how hard that is? Send letters saying remove hydrofluorosilicic acid, it gives you cancer and brain damages. And attacks the thyroid. Can you imagine the time bomb they're sitting on after they put this in the water and kill tens of millions with it? With the cancers alone and the bone cancer alone? Tens of millions. Can you, since the 40s, can you imagine? See, the dam's breaking. That's why the enemy's moving right now. The enemy is cornered right now, ladies and gentlemen. The spirit of awakening is here. And we're only a tiny detonator. I'm like a little bitty cap on the back of a huge shell loaded with plastic explosive in the info war. Peaceful bombs of truth. I'm just a detonator. I'm little, you're little, but together we chain reaction detonate. It's over. Once we come out of the trance. Once we admit we were lied to. Once we admit it's scary, it's not scary anymore because now we're not subconsciously oppressed and afraid with the messages of the New World Order menacing us. Inside, the subliminals are, we're going to kill you, we're the New World Order, do what we say. Well, there's no New World Order on the surface, so that we stay afraid. Okay, if I just deny it, I'll be safe. No. Denying it lets the enemy come. Hit the lights, turn the lights on. And the vampires will incinerate. Let's go to that clip of the demonization from the head Portlandia, Mr. Show, you name it, he's behind it, now putting out movies that end with the fact that Alex Jones is causing a rebellion. Alex Jones is really a closet racist, fooling the hippies. The hippies are all cheering the Alex Jones character until he admits he's really a racist. Here it is.
You are taking marching orders from Barack Obama, that socialist in the White House. I heard that on Alex Jones, so it's true.
Now the police drag him out. So let's just stop right there. We're going to do a whole article on this tomorrow, and we'll put my response and video in here so that people understand what we're dealing with. But this is criminal propaganda. There is no doubt that a jury would not award me damages when I took them to trial and they got to subpoena me, I subpoena them, depositions, and we could show that I never said any of this and that he literally tried to defame me and hurt me. But you know what, David Cross? I'm not going to do that. You have defamed yourself. You are a liar, and you have basically already given me satisfaction. I don't need to take you out in the street politically and flog you. But I'm really sad for you. You know why they did this? Probably paid product placement, propaganda placement. They did this because I'm addressing the fact that the so-called liberal establishment are a bunch of warmongering, NSA-loving, power-grabbing insurance company criminals with Obamacare and the rest of it. that the Democratic leadership fascistically works with the Republican leadership to screw this country over by the very same bankers looting Greece and Portugal and Brazil and Nigeria and Ireland and everywhere else. And we're coming together globally with solidarity for real freedom and true liberalism like Thomas Jefferson promoted. The liberalism of teaching women how to use guns and protect themselves. The liberalism of letting you keep more of your money. The liberalism of having sovereignty and honoring and loving humanity. Not loving all this tyranny. You are a bunch of fashionable fops, a bunch of fake, trendy liberals who aren't liberals at all. You're a bunch of totalitarians promoting anti-speech laws and every other form of garbage. You want to run everybody's lives and bully everyone. You're having to resort to lying about people like me that are real liberals compared to propagandists like you. You have now discredited these companies. You are now jokes. So apologize. This is shameful. Introducing Secret 12, the new InfoWars Life vitamin B12 formulation. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139. Now, I want to get into, just because Rob Dew did a report on it, and it's back in the news now, that Google is growing aborted baby parts. They've harvested the little darlings, and then they grow them in rats, in pigs, and in cows. Now, this is what Google's telling the public today, and I have the mainstream news articles about it, how great it is. They just report on it like it's no big deal, like the president was barbecuing children on the front lawn. Now, that'd be the biggest scandal ever, but see, it's just dead babies, so it's no big deal. Humans turned into a total commodity. 5 years ago, people couldn't believe that Pepsi used baby parts for their flavor testing. But of course, now it's all over the news, and no big deal. What's wrong with baby parts? Same thing, here. I want to explain something to you. It was in scientific papers that the BBC mentioned in 1996 that I read. And they were talking about how great it was, about how in government labs they were growing fetuses that they had basically caused inception in a test tube, and then they were planting them in cows and growing them up in utero to larger than baby size, specially engineered to have larger organs. So you have to understand, as you hear about all this, human cloning, when they admitted it was going on in 1997, they declassified in England that the government had been cloning embryos for at least 25 years before that. So now we're back into the 70s. And then, of course, you learn it was going on even before that, back into the 50s. And now they're declassifying Nuremberg documents, you can look these up, where they were already cloning rabbits in the 40s in Nazi Germany. So see, the reason the elite are so arrogant is, folks, everything you've heard from me is what we can prove, and folks can handle. Let me tell you, I can extrapolate out where all this goes and see the predictive programming. We are in deep trouble. We are beyond a science fiction movie. It's real. And if you're in a trance, you don't understand that. If you're conscious, it's incredible what's going on. God laid it on me. I want the crew to work with me on this. I need to speak more. I need to get angry sometimes, but I need to be more poignant, and I need to talk slower, and I need to really give people time for this to sink in to break the trance. We've already woken up the people that weren't really in a trance, knew something was wrong, and heard some guy yelling and came and listened. And they already knew the truths that I was speaking that were already in their heart. I didn't tell you anything. We need to reach out to people that are in the trance and not not be manipulative, not do a fake version of it, but a real version of it, of the way you speak to a child when they won't listen and keep going in the street. You get them by the arm and you go, listen, I saw a little boy run over once, and he was smashed all over the road like that dead deer. And if you go back out in the street, you might end up getting run over and your guts are going to be all over the street. An old guy named Mr. Bruner, who actually sold my parents the house that we had there on San Fernando Way in Dallas when I was about 5 years old. My mom was asleep inside on a Saturday and almost got hit by a car. And he told me before I got out of the street, he came over and he grabbed me by the arm and he reached down and he told me just exactly that. He didn't say it hatefully, but he had a little bit of menace in his voice because the cars are a menace. Kind of like, don't stick your hand down that rattlesnake hole, boy. And that's how we need to speak to people, at least some of the time, to break them out of their trance. Do you understand that the British government and the US government and the Harvard and all of them admit the fluoride's making us depressed and fat and suicidal and making our thyroids and pancreases go out? They know it. They did it on purpose. Now deal with it. Think about that. Think about Google. Think about Google. Openly coming out 8 years ago and saying we're going to use microphones and cameras to watch and listen to you, but don't worry, it's computers key logging everything you say. Now it's all out in the open being done. Think about their arrogance. Think about what they haven't announced yet. Now I have some Second Amendment news coming up in the next hour. They claim the ATF has backed off. I read their statement. This is a vent. This is where you act like you're going one way in a sword fight, but you're really going the other way. Or when you act like you're going to pass the ball and it's really a handoff. Or you act like you handed it off to somebody and you really hand it off to somebody else. It's a trick. It's guaranteed. The headlines are that they've been defeated, they've backed off. You read what they say we're shelving it for now. No, they're not. The attack pattern. Well, I'll get into the attack pattern. I'll cover that in the next hour. But it's very easy to understand the enemy's playbook. They have a big operation to run. That's one of their weaknesses, is that they have playbooks because they've got legions of operatives. So they run plays, just like a football coach, okay? And if you just study their plays, we've got their stinking playbooks. They've all written books to command their forces. Eco-science, there's hundreds of them. I've read close to 100 of their manuals. It's unbelievably sickening. You can go read their manuals. You can read their playbooks. If you decide there's a war going on, there's a game for your destiny going on, it is going on whether you admit it or not. And then you've got the enemy playbooks. I mean, these are the enemy generals, the field marshals, the witch kings of the New World Order. We have their operational manuals. We know. You've just got to have the strength to admit it and get past the spiritual deception that won't let you even see it. The trance that the magicians have put us under. But all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. You take the blue pill, you go back, never remember any of this again. You take the red pill, you go down the rabbit hole, and I'll show you how far it goes. But a warning, all God is offering all of us is the truth, nothing more. But you have to decide. Now that said, I want to get into the dehumanization of the babies. And look, women that are into abortion and it's your sacrament, I understand. At least you should know that babies are being harvested for upwards of $50,000, especially if they have certain genetic types. Now, a lot of the places are just, butcher shops, but a lot of the fancy ones that you hoity-toity women go to, you should at least get a little cash. That's a way to shut this down, is to actually let folks know how valuable the market is in the next generation, as if there'll be any future generations when the elite have been able to sell something like this. So that's coming up. There's so much of this now happening that I can't even watch it all or cover it all. Listeners continue to tell us about it on a daily basis. Everything from The Simpsons to Comedy Central to major Hollywood movies like Prisoners, to new stuff every week, a new movie by David Cross, has a Ku Klux Klan basic leader who says he learned it all from Alex Jones on the radio, and starts screaming the N-word. I mean, and people that don't know me are just going to go into movie theaters and it's like, I love Alex Jones, you know, Heil Hitler, kill all the Jews, N-word, N-word. I mean, this is the guy from Mr. Show and all the rest of it, who by the way, I like Mr. Show. Portlandia, you name it. But I mean, these are sick people. Anyone who and they're showing, and I'll bet money, like Armstrong Williams got caught being paid $250,000 to lie and say he was for No Child Left Behind and to get conservatives on board for federalization of education. Montel Williams came out and said that I am a cokehead who wants to blow things up, and I mean, you can go read the quotes. I mean, it is unbelievable. Montel Williams is one of the only watchable talk show hosts of that whole genre. I have nothing against Montel Williams, except now I know he is Judas Iscariot. I mean, this guy would sell his mother out, in my opinion, for a stick of bubble gum. I mean, the stuff he says about me, hands down, I could win a libel suit. I could win a defamation suit. Just hands down. I mean, done. But MSNBC says that I'm behind the Boston bombing. We can play that clip, no proof, when they say that. And you know what? I just accept all these lies and attacks, okay? I'm here trying to fight, and I know why it is. I'm speaking out against the fake president, the God, and so the word's gone out, and I suddenly, it's like the gates of Hades were up. Many government officials and corporate officials publicly admit that they take neuro-linguistic programming. They admit that they go and take Delphi technique courses. They take courses on, you wonder why you tune into NPR and everybody talks with this voice like this, because that's a soothing voice that will put people, if you listen for just a few minutes, into a very calm state. You take a public already watching television, 5 or 10 hours a day in a trance state with lowered brain waves. That's in all the big studies. You're speaking to someone in a trance. If you try to talk to somebody loud while they're asleep, they'll wake up. That's what we've done. But if you talk to them when they're asleep very softly, you can sometimes get people to actually sleepwalk. Well, that's just an example. So it's good to yell at folks and get them out of a burning house if they won't wake up, or throw a cold bucket of water on them. But the tactic of also slowing down, calming down, I'm telling myself this right now, and really saying, is it normal to take the dead babies, harvest their organs while they're still alive, implant them in other animals to grow them up larger? Genetically engineered cows that are part human so that they don't reject the babies. I forgot that part. Or just growing babies up in test tubes and implanting them in cows and pigs and dogs and sheep and rats and growing them up. And see, before you go, oh, that's crazy, I've got mainstream news here I'm going to cover next hour. We just played a report. This is Google's life extension program. They're just rolling it out as a platform for all these under-the-surface government developments. Meanwhile, Montel Williams' official Twitter, when we put out an article, Mikhail Phelan, we have the whole Twitter history here, Twitter trail. VA manager jokes about veteran suicides. IndyStar.com/story. We just sent out the Indianapolis Star. We've done our own reports that had VA whistleblowers about joking about how, they deny them care and how much they hate them. That's mainstream news. We tweet that. And Montel Williams responds saying, conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hats have been more right than wrong. I support. Montel Williams, let's add the conspiracy theorist in. And then he goes in to say that Alex Jones and Joe Biggs should use less cocaine. He goes on to say Alex Jones is an evil master con artist who should burn in hell. And he goes on to say that, that I'm somebody who wants to get some people to blow stuff up. Ladies and gentlemen, I have publicly said that in high school I've used cocaine twice and absolutely hated it. I don't use any illegal drugs. But see, for someone like Montel Williams to see this amount of energy is weird to him. Hey, Montel, if somebody punches me in the nose, you're going to see a lot of energy too. I am a redneck, hillbilly, fiery-blooded, free human being. And I see a lot of black people out there too that don't want to be slaves. So I don't know what your problem is, buddy, but this hitting cocaine. I'm powered by human survival and the spirit of Jesus Christ. You know what that is? I am not going to lie down in the ditch and suck boots all day while they're killing veterans and putting them on secret list. And the only reason I get angry is because I'm still alive. And people that are dead inside like you have got a problem with people like me and you think it's a joke. The spirit I got in me started this country. It started Texas. And I just can't believe that people like you are so dead inside that you look at somebody like me and call me a con artist. Because that's all you got. You don't have any facts. You don't bring anything. We tweet out somebody else's article. Mainstream news, doing the right thing, reporting on how there's a pattern of them pushing veterans into suicide, you name it, and you sit there and call us names. You know what? We stand on the facts, and that's the end of it. And now they have a movie out being promoted by Comedy Central, HBO, people are involved, where they totally have someone saying, I love Alex Jones, N-word, just everything else. Stay with us. They're coming at you.
Introducing the first proprietary oxygen-based intestinal cleanser, OxyPowder, backed by real FDA-approved phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials. People are suffering from all kinds of digestive issues these days. All the toxins from the air, the food, the water, ultimately ends up in the gut or affects the gut. My main focus was to come up with a remedy for this, something that's safe and effective that anyone can take on a regular basis to keep their intestinal lining clean. My recommendation is to clean your intestines at least 2 to 3 times a week to prevent the toxic buildup from going into your bloodstream. Take your health in your own hands and start cleansing your body today with OxyPowder. Secure your OxyPowder today.
Welcome to the Alex Jones Show. It is Wednesday, March 11th, 2015. I'm David Knight in the InfoWars News Center here in Austin, and joining us from the road is Alex Jones. He'll be hosting. Go ahead, Alex.
David Knight, thank you so much for doing a great job in the first half of the hour. Obviously, I was here ready to go, but I'd just like to mix the show up some when I'm on the road and let David get rolling with some of those special reports and his a unique brand of piercing analysis. And David will be back with us, popping in throughout the next few hours, and then he will host with some guests and calls in the third hour. I will drive back to Austin tomorrow, and we'll host live in studio Friday and on next Sunday's broadcast. This is our little abbreviated working spring break down here on the rainy coast. My son and daughters love to go fishing and deep sea fishing, so they're off with the grandparents doing that right now while we're here working from the hotel room. Again, Alex Jones coming to you from the Texas coastline. Yesterday, we had a pretty powerful 3-hour broadcast, and when David and I are both in there jousting to get as much info out, it's not competition, but it creates a energetic synergy that is extremely listenable and mixed in with all the facts and factoids and important info. But last night, as I was going to bed at about 10 o'clock, I was just laying there thinking about how historical a time we're in and how epic a time we're in, again to use that word, and how the public really is in a trance. And just sitting there contemplating, I prayed to God. These are the times you pray. There are no atheists in foxholes, it's been said. I forget who said that. We should look up that quote. And I was thinking, yes, it's good that I rant and rave and scream and yell and hyperventilate. That's real. I'm like a caged animal desperately trying to get out. I mean, I know the globalists are closing in on us. I know they're hurting us. There's so many good people on this planet I want to protect because I want to be protected as well. It's mutual aid. And it's good that I get excited some. That's what's brought the big crowds of people, because the world is under a trance, under a conditioned incremental trance, to have learned helplessness and to basically have a normalcy bias to where you're an Aztec 1,000 years ago and you think it's normal to have your children hauled off to have their hearts cut out for the sun god. for the snake god. Or you're living in Nazi Germany and you think it's normal that 15 million Germans have died and there's still a year left of the war, and you're working 20 hours a day, and down the road there's a forced labor camp. And your cousin just got disappeared because he said Hitler was evil. Or it's normal, 200 years ago, if you lived in England, to basically be 12 years old playing in your front yard, and men pull up in a carriage, knock you on the back of the head, tie you up, and an hour later you're thrown on a ship that takes off on a 3-year tour to the Pacific Ocean, and you are literally a slave on board that ship. Press gangs, legal and lawful, until they were abolished. And as that was being abolished, England then abolished slavery itself. But that's just an example of how evils can seem completely normal, and the first people that stand up to it and say it's wrong can be laughed at and ridiculed, but then overnight folks can turn against it. Airships like the Hindenburg, up until the early 30s, were in all the major skies of Europe and the United States. People were traveling on them across the country. Thousands were being built, hundreds were in service, large ones. When the Hindenburg struck that pole and static electricity and exploded because it was using hydrogen, not helium, and burned. You say, well, why does that matter? Overnight, blimps fell out of airships. Dirigibles fell out of favor. Just like GMO was the biggest thing 20 years ago, now it's falling out of favor. They're taking it out of foods across the board. McDonald's is buckling, saying they're going to take it out. Huge victories are happening on a daily basis. So I want you to understand, as dark as it is, things can flip very quickly. We flipped into tyranny. Now they admit that there's hidden tech basically in everything, spying and listening to us. We can turn against that, start demanding it be removed, start lawsuits. It can be removed. But we first had to admit it was going on and be called crazy people 20 years ago. Listen, there was spy tech in the cable boxes and phones 20 years ago. It's all declassified. There were babies being grown in cow uteruses 20 years ago. And I would read mainstream scientific papers on air, but people didn't, general public, just listening to me on the radio said, you're crazy, it doesn't exist. Just like 20 years ago, we talk about spider goats. I use that as an example, as everybody knows about spider goats now. Part spider, part goat, produce body armor in their milk. I was called a kook for at least a decade talking about spider goats. But I knew that as it became mainline, people would then remember and go, oh, that guy wasn't a kook. So that's the bottom line. So I prayed last night and I said, God, what is the most important thing we can do? And when I woke up this morning, it was laid heavily upon me. And I don't usually get like this, but I privately pray. I don't talk a lot about my private relationship with Christ a lot, but it's very real. And God said, I already told you, and you said it yesterday, it's break the trance. And you do that by praying that God give us all guidance and open up our hearts and minds. You have free will. The people have chosen to believe the lie, and they've gone along with lies so much. Abortion, the NSA, the tyranny, but obviously it's just thousands of data points coming down. They need to be challenged to say, okay, you want to be slaves? It's all here. You've had your choice. Now it's going to get much worse. And that's what the message is about. God laid on my heart is people all know the truth. They've just chosen to not believe it. A lot of people are choosing to now investigate for themselves and discover that it's much worse than I've said. Because you cannot tell somebody about the Matrix. You got to see it. You got to see it for yourself. And that's what it comes down to, is we need to really figure out how to break people out of their trance. And the biggest way to do that is to cry out to God. And then God will begin to basically give you by increments discernment. And the more you act on that discernment, the more discernment God will give you. But people choose to be ignorant. They choose to not understand. They'd say to Christ, why do you speak in parables? Well, he wasn't speaking in parables, really. They just couldn't understand it because they were the profane. They had chosen lies so much throughout their lives that was their universe. So to hear the truth was a lie to them because it would destroy the fraudulent world they lived in. And we can't be mad at these people that are in willful denial and under mind control. These are very sad victims. that are the equivalent of little baby elephants that have been attacked by a pack of wild hyenas being dragged away with their little snouts being torn off. I mean, spiritually, they're just being torn apart by a bunch of sharks. They have this smile of mind control in their eyes, enjoying their destruction, enjoying their failure. But as we press with our will that God's given us, as we press on them and as all this evil begins to manifest that was right below the surface, and as the evil intensifies, we're going to be attacked, and that is an incredible blessing. That is a sign of incredible victory. Used since before the days of the Roman Empire.